Hello and welcome back to another episode of Entertainment Roadmap. Today I am here with Gina Su. How are you doing today, Gina?
I am doing fabulous. It is a rainy day in LA, which is kind of rare, but I'm grateful for it.
I'm in New Jersey and it's rainy today too.
Oh,
All day.
interesting.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's strange. The weather is definitely acting up more and more. But it's an excuse for me to just be cozy and like watch a movie.
Exactly. So I'm so excited to speak with you today, especially about Autopilot, which is a new film or a new short. So can you tell us a little bit about Autopilot and the premise behind the short?
Yeah, for sure. So, Autopilot is a sci-fi short film that we made about 2 years ago with myself and my co-producer, Jennifer Zhang. She's also the writer and director. And it's a very like fun, interesting, high concept sci-fi that ends up becoming a little bit of a thriller or a horror. So have you seen it actually?
I have not yet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'll have to send you the link because I thought maybe it would have gotten to you and so that you've seen
No.
it,
Yes,
but
please
um
do.
yeah, I'll have to send it to you. So it's a about a pilot in space and she has this virtual companion program which is kind of like a holographic person that she has conversations with to like keep her keep her staying sane as a solo pilot in space, and it starts to act out, and then ensues some exciting thrilling sci-fi stuff.
Right. Yeah, you have to send me the link because I'm like sold. It sounds so good.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that really interested me about you is that you're very into the sci-fi genre. So what
Mm.
interests you in the sci-fi genre and how'd you kind of find your way to it?
I mean, I love all genres, and for me personally, I first made a dramedy, and then I was like, now I want to make a sci-fi. And now that I've done that, I'm like, I want to make a rom-com and then maybe next a Western. So I'm kind of dipping my toes in all genres. But what I love about sci-fi specifically is it creates a brand new world with brand new rules. And as much as I love like I would love to be an actor in a historical piece or an old Western, but it's very hard for people to imagine me as a person of color in those kinds of genres. Sci-fi is like blank slate. You could do whatever you want, create whatever world you want. And I think that's actually a really cool genre and platform for women, for underrepresented actors, to like take up space in a room like sci-fi. So that's why we made that. And also we filmed it on one of the last remaining sets of Firefly, which is a like old cult classic show that Nathan Fillion was the lead of, and so it was so cool to like come full circle to have my favorite show and to film there.
That's so special. That's like a sign
Yeah.
that you're like on the right path. I'm a huge
Oh yeah,
believer in signs, and I think that's yeah.
me too. I'm like whatever the universe gives me, I'm trying to pay attention as much as I can.
Yeah, that is so awesome. And I really like your reasoning behind sci-fi because it's
Yeah.
sci-fi genre because it's so true. Women and underrepresented actors and actresses, a lot of times no one envisions us in some of these other genres. So when you look
Yeah.
at it that way, it's such sci-fi is such a special genre for some,
Yeah.
and I think it needs to be highlighted more.
For sure. And I'll give a shout out to Etheria Film Festival because they highlight women filmmakers in the genre space. And that's why Autopilot was on AMC Plus for a month, streaming on Shudder, which was really cool. But I was so blown away by the lovely support that we got for that. But there was also a lot of pushback of, online haters who were just like, women shouldn't be in the horror space. They shouldn't be in the sci-fi space. And I'm like, wow, this is still happening. So even more reason for us to keep going.
Yes, no, exactly. And
Yeah.
congratulations on the Nevermore Film Festival. That is so
Thank you.
exciting. So, what was that like, and how was that experience overall?
Nevermore was amazing. They are a genre film festival in North Carolina. I've only been there once for a friend's wedding, so I was in and out, but this time I got to spend time in Durham, and everyone was so lovely, kind, and also extremely organized. Like for Nevermore, they had one volunteer person that was part of the program take care of multiple filmmakers of each block. So we had someone who we could text with, who got us our badges, made sure we were prepped for our Q&A, and got us free drink tickets for the networking event afterwards. So Nevermore. And actually, a lot of the genre film festivals are very um, welcoming and they take really good care of you. We also went to Film Quest and we also went to Fantasia, which is one of the biggest festivals in Montreal. And I can see why there's a cult following for genre films because people are just like kind and supportive. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience.
That's so nice, especially in such a cutthroat industry to find people who are supportive and there for you. That's like so
Hmm.
important. And
Yeah.
it also seems like you've been all over the world recently with
we
North Carolina and Montreal.
Yeah, our film also like screened in China and Korea. We were in Utah twice. We played at the LA Regal Live here twice. At the Chinese Theater once. So we're just extremely grateful that Autopilot has been doing so well.
I'm literally speechless for you. So all I can
Oh, thanks.
congratulations. That's so all your hard work seeing that pay off like that must just be one of the most rewarding feelings ever.
Yeah, truly, truly.
Yeah. And kind of getting away from autopilot, you have something else
Hmm.
really exciting. So let's hear about
Oh,
Pretty Magic Productions.
oh yes.
Very-
Okay. Well, if I'm totally honest, it's not that exciting because I created Pretty Magic Productions to make Autopilot. So it is my own production company. And when you make films, you need to get your permits and your insurance. And I'm like, well, I had a goal to make one film a year, and Autopilot was on a much larger scale than my first short. And I'm like, well, if we're gonna do this, let's do this right. So I started Pretty Magic Productions, which is the production company that Autopilot is made from. But I had a lot of fun like picking the name because if you think about film and storytelling, I think it's pretty magical. So that's how I came up with that name. And the purpose behind it is that I'm trying to get as many women, people of color, disabilities, people from the LGBTQ community to be in front and behind the camera of any project that I produce. So it's nice to have a platform like that.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that you look out for other people, it just speaks so highly of you. And I think
Oh,
character like really shines through in all of what you do. And it just shows how good of a person you are to be like that and have that outlook.
oh, you're so sweet. I mean, same with you with starting this podcast and inviting people to talk about their projects. Like, we spend so much time making the project, but most of the times we need it to get seen and have people talk about it. So, yeah, I'm grateful for your platform too.
Oh, thank you. And we're like I said, we're so excited to have you here today. And I mean, a lot of our listeners want to go into acting. So do you have any acting advice for those who do?
Oh my gosh. You know, I once heard an interview from Amelia Clark on Instagram, and she was saying, if you can do anything else besides acting, do that because acting is just hard and painful and so much rejection and so many tears. But I want to throw in like the flip side of the coin is I wanted to act for so long. I just didn't know it was a real possibility, a career that you could actually pursue. And the moment I decided to drop everything and truly do it, I have never felt such a sense of like alignment to my values and like alignment that I'm doing the right thing. It sounds morbid, but sometimes I tell people, I'm like, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I'm just gonna be so glad that I went for it and I'm doing it. And the advice is that it will be hard. It's like, I mean, I think it's easier to win the lottery, than become an A-list world renowned known actor. Granted, not all actors want to be like an A-list actor. They just want to work, like I do. But the odds are incredibly not in your favor. However, the joy that comes from the journey, like you, because it's so difficult, you're kind of forced to learn how to enjoy the difficulties of becoming an actor, and then everything else just seems worth it. So, my advice is if you want to do it, go for it, and then you'll find out if you can tolerate the challenging parts along the way.
I like what you said about alignment because kind of like what we were talking about
Yeah.
before the interview, and I was saying I kind of want to go into acting. I
Yes.
feel that alignment sometimes. Like I just
Yeah.
don't know, like this is gonna sound so silly, but like the trailer life and like all that seems so fun to me and like just being in like a trailer before your scenes and
Yes.
not even because again, I don't want to be an A-lister. I feel like that's like that has its own benefits and cons in itself.
Yes.
Just to work and like be able to be on set, like that seems like such a fun experience to me. And I think you're right. Like you can almost feel it with that alignment. Like
Yeah.
if it's meant for you, it's gonna come to you and you have to go to it, if that kind of makes sense.
Yes, totally. And I feel that way about auditions and roles as well. Like, there's been so many roles that I didn't get, and I ended up watching the shows and I'm like, it makes sense. It wasn't supposed to be me. I didn't have that look or that energy, or even the shows didn't do so well. And I'm like, oh, if I had booked that show, then I wouldn't have been able to travel the world with autopilot. So I'm so much about like the universe like
I am
has your
here.
back.
Whatever
Yeah,
is meant for you will come to you, and everything happens for a reason.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
And on the topic of acting, what's your go-to
Mhm.
audition ritual? And
Oh,
how do you kind of handle all of that?
well, I mean, I know actors who can look at sides and they're like memorized within an hour and they're like good to go. It reminds me of school when people would like barely study and they would get an A, and I'm like, "No, I'm I have to sit in the library for hours and like really, really know my lines really well." So for me, it's like getting the lines down 100%. I try to do word for word as best as I can. Get it so much in my system that that's not something I'm thinking about when I'm actually performing the scene. And I also do a lot of like meditation and breath work. So for me, just like breathing before an audition. I also do something cheesy, which is the power pose. Have you heard of that?
I haven't.
So if you stand like a superhero, either like this or like with your arms up in the air, like Superwoman or Superman, for 2 minutes and just breathe with like your chest out and your chin up, like psychologically and physiologically, it makes you a more confident person.
Oh,
And they've done like research on this for people who are interviewing for jobs. And most people like talk themselves up only like 60% of how good and capable they are for a job. But after you do this pose, you're like up to 80%. You kind of bring forth your best version of yourself and your best version of your confidence. And so it's my little trick that I like to do.
I have never heard of that before. It
Yeah.
is amazing.
You like Google it and like read all the research. It's really fascinating.
And it's such a simple little technique too. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Do you prefer in-person auditions or self-tapes?
Oh, it's it's hard because in person, people get to know your personality and I get to feel like their energy. And I think the best part as an actor is they can give you an adjustment. Like with a self tape, you give your best, like we're only given sides most of the times and we're not given the whole project. So we don't know what happened to our character at the beginning or at the end. We're kind of just like guesstimating. So when you go into a room and you show them your choices, they could be like, oh, actually, your character's mom like died before this monologue, and it's like, wow, that changes how I would do this monologue. So I really appreciate that. However, I love being able to do a self-tape because I can watch it back. Like I'm such a visual person that I like to watch back my takes and be like, "Oh, I'd like to change my eye line. I feel like my like body stature can change more." Um, like moments where maybe someone's leaning in and then they lean back to look more casual. Like those parts I think are important parts of acting that I can adjust with a self tape at home. So I'm 50-50.
I feel like both definitely have
Yeah.
their pros and cons because, like you said, you can watch it back, but then you get that
Yeah.
backstory. If you're in person, you get to know them more personally. And
Hmm.
self tapes just really became a thing since the pandemic. If
Yeah,
okay, it's
totally.
crazy how like 4 years ago, right now, changed
Yeah,
everything.
totally. I mean, and the other benefit is casting directors are seeing a lot more actors because of self tapes. There's less scheduling. People submit on their own time. And also a lot of actors outside of LA, which is where I am, get to be seen, like actors in Canada, Atlanta, New Mexico, New York. So it is cool that, sometimes I've been submitting to my reps in Hawaii who rep me because I lived there during the pandemic. And I'm like, it's because of self tapes that I could do that.
That's so cool. Yeah, it's funny how
Yeah.
it has such a great advantage. And how did you get into acting? What's kind of your story there?
Oh, I feel like there's a million different connections as to like how I got here. But probably the most straightforward way is I really wanted to be a professional dancer. I told my mom I want to be the backup dancer for Britney Spears, and she's like, absolutely not.
I
um,
oh, not
and
to cut you off. I
yeah,
used to love Britney Spears when I was younger. There's
yes.
videos of me dancing on a chair singing Oops, I Did It Again.
Oh
Same
my
thing. I wanted
God.
to be her backup dancer. I was like 2 years
Oh,
old, like singing all the songs.
wait. If you have this video, please send it to me because I would
I
love to
will.
watch it.
Yes.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, so like performing was just in my blood. I did theater in high school, and then when I got to college, it was like I was actually looking into a job in PR, and like tech jobs. I went to school in the Bay Area, but it wasn't until, oddly enough, I did a pageant in 2016 called Miss Asian Global. And I just really wanted to get back on the stage, practice my speaking, get into really good shape for something. And I ended up winning that pageant, and I was like crowned Miss Asian Global for that year and went around and did a lot of press junkets and talked about my purpose and my platform. And I really enjoyed being almost someone that people would look up to, someone that people would like. My platform was helping people have live better and healthier lives. And that was so empowering for me that I think the only other thing that gives you more of that platform is either being like a politician or an actor. So acting combined, having a platform and like, I don't know, spreading goodness in the world and then also being a performer. So it was like, this is my thing.
It was all right there for you, like everything like
Yeah.
packaged into one gift. That's really
Yeah.
cool. And you have such a unique story, like with the pageant, and congratulations on that, by the way. Just,
Oh, thanks.
I feel like it's such an inspiring story, and it kind of shows that you can go into acting a little later in life. It's not like it has to
Mhm.
be something you were doing since you could walk. And I think
Yeah.
that's a common misconception that people feel like they can't start the older they get.
Totally. I mean, it's not untrue that our industry is not as kind to older actors, specifically female actors. However, because I started producing and making my own films, I'm like, well, that's not for them to say. We can keep, making our own films and put ourselves in it, and I can cast you in something. I know you were saying that you feel like maybe, we didn't start when we were like 11, like some of the actors we know, but no, we need characters of all ages and shapes and sizes and colors, and that's also the beauty of this job too.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we've talked so much about your experience and everything that you have lined up, but what is your dream project?
Oh, okay. I'll just put this out there. I'll just like manifest it on your podcast. Um, as I love indie, like just super nuanced, juicy projects, but now that I'm producing, I'm like, I can make those films and I can see myself going in that direction. So that kind of checks that box. But a good old-fashioned Marvel superhero movie would be amazing because that takes so much like a stunt team, VFX, big sets, like big projects. And I am such a physical actor. I've trained in dance and martial arts and hand-to-hand combat for film. And so there is a character who is an Asian female uh, superhero that's part of the Spider-Man universe, and her name is Silk. I don't, have you heard of her?
I have not.
Yeah, so she wears kind of like this white suit top, and she later becomes a love interest of Spider-Man, and it would be so cool to do wire works and flips and use my physicality to bring an Asian American superhero to life. So that would be a dream.
Well, first of all, you're going to manifest it through this podcast. We've had some
Yes.
people manifest stuff before. They've said stuff and then it happens. And second
No
of
way.
all,
Okay,
I have
great.
my fingers crossed for you. My fingers, my toes, everything. I could picture you in a Marvel movie. Like you just
Oh,
have that look too. It would, and physical acting. So is that like where you would do your own stunts?
yeah, for sure. I mean, I would do 100% of all my own stunts if that was possible, but I know the possibility of injury. Usually, they don't want you to do everything, so I would want to do as much as I possibly could.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
so here at Entertainment Roadmap, we love to do a little hot seat section. Are you willing to sit
Okay.
down in the hot seat and answer some questions?
Yes, put me in the hot seat.
Apple or Android?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a fruit like apple or orange. Apple.
Same, 100%.
Yeah, for the phone and for the fruit, actually.
Yes. What's your life motto?
Make life yours.
Ooh, that's a good one. And
Yeah.
how about your go-to coffee order?
Oh, I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm like an herbal tea kind of person. So
Okay, me
I'd go
too.
with tea. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite herbal tea?
Oh, I just got this new one that's like cinnamon orange rooibos, which is like cool and a little bit spiced. So, yeah, and then at nighttime, chamomile to like get me to bed.
Yes, that's the best.
Yeah.
I just went out and I had some like ginger lemon herbal tea.
Ooh,
So good. It was like this little cafe that just opened across the street from me. So like I'm always there now getting it, but so good. I'm
that's
a huge
great.
drinker as well.
Yeah, because ginger's good for your stomach and digestion, and then the lemon, right? You said?
Yep.
Like vitamin C and yeah,
Yep, it's all in
awesome
there.
combo.
If you could only eat three things for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Oh my gosh, three things. Okay. People are gonna laugh at me. One is bread. I just love bread. Two, chocolate covered strawberries or bananas that I make myself at home. It has to be the ones that I make because I use dark chocolate and organic strawberries. That's the secret. And the third thing, I'm plant-based, so I'd have to say tofu because you can make fried chicken out of tofu and dumplings and a million things, and it's
Oh, wow.
so, so good for you. So I'll throw that in
Those
there.
are good options.
Yeah.
And then, what about a favorite season?
Definitely summer. That's when I was born. I love when it's hot and sunny.
Yes.
That's my jam.
I'm like waiting for, especially New Jersey, because it's been cold. I'm like waiting
Yes.
for those sunny days. I cannot wait for summer. I'm
Yeah.
freezing my butt off over here.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's your favorite too, summertime.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
And then I'm a fall baby, so I'm like
Yep.
kind of between summer and fall, but I like them both.
Yeah, yeah. I love it.
And then are you a procrastinator or do you get stuff done on time?
Oh, I think I'm both. I don't usually ever get anything in late, but procrastination is about doing the thing.
Yeah.
So it depends on my mood, honestly. Like with this weather, probably procrastinator,
Mhm.
but summertime, I'm on
You're
it.
I know I'm such a procrastinator. Sometimes it's so bad. Like I have a project
Yeah.
for grad school at 11:59. Still have to do a little bit of it, but
Oh,
oh,
today? Tonight? Oh my gosh. You got this.
I never get anything in late. Like that's like a pet peeve of mine. Things being in late. I will
Yeah.
procrastinate up until the last moment, but it will be in by 11:59. It's just so funny. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the quality's good. I also read some research that like procrastination like builds up your intensity to focus on the thing and give it your all in those final moments. So I don't know. I'll take that as a good thing sometimes. Yeah.
Well, Gina, thank you so much for joining me today. I had such a great time speaking with you, and you're so lovely. So, thank you again for joining, and I can't wait to get this episode out.
Oh, thank you, Allison. You are so sweet and kind. It was so nice to chat with you before our talk as well. And yeah, I'm here. Let's stay connected, and we can talk more about your journey too if you want.